Hey, CDC. I am Mike Patella, president of Christian Business Connect, and this is our January 4th, 2019, first Meet the Member of the New Year with Shawn Vyver of Great Lakes Dentistry. So thank you for doing this.
Absolutely.
Definitely
Thanks.
appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming by.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. So I guess tell us all a little bit about you and your practice and all that fun stuff.
Sure. Well, I started Great Lakes Dentistry about 12 years ago in Royal Oak, and we used to live out there. And when I got married, we had, I think, 2 kids at the time. We had one child at the time with a second on the way. And if you ever lived in Royal Oak or know about Royal Oak, the houses are really small and they're right next to each other. So we looked for a bigger space, a little bit more area for the kids, and we don't want them playing in the streets or high traffic area and stuff. So we moved out here to Bruce Township, and I couldn't make the drive. 2 hours in the snow, it was ridiculous. So
even without the snow, it's a bit of a
hike. Yeah, and so now we have 5 kids, and definitely couldn't have 5 kids in our Royal Oak house. And so I was looking for a place kind of closer to home, and that's where why I landed here in Shelby. So we're 24 mile in Van Dyke, and this space became available, and so this is our new home.
And it seems like you got in at a good time because there's a lot that's happening on this stretch here.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've been here, and if you're familiar with 26 mile and Van Dyke, there's the Home Depot, Buffalo Wild Wings, then the Kroger, and now the LA Fitness. We were out here before the Kroger and the LA Fitness, and before all of that was built up, and that's all happened in the last 3 years. It's amazing. It's very quick. So
and I didn't even know things existed beyond 25 miles. So
no, there is life. There is life north of 25 miles.
Learn something new every day.
Yes.
So obviously you've been doing this a while. What's your favorite thing about what it is you do?
My favorite thing about dentistry, it's kind of one of the reasons why I got into it. Well, there's a couple reasons. The first is I like to, work with my hands. I like to make things. I like to create things, and doing dentistry allows me to do that. I actually get to work with a lot of cool CAD and computer-aided design technologies and milling machines and all this, high-tech stuff that I can actually make crowns and dentures and things like that here in the office. So it's cool to be able to make stuff. But the other side is dealing with people, and I'm not I'm not interfacing with the same people day in and day out, right? I don't have a cubicle job where I don't have, coworkers, and it's the same people. I'm always talking with different people from different walks of life, so I'm always interfacing with different types of people. And so I find that really interesting. And being in a set location where I'm not all over the place, I'm in a set location, it allows me to be involved in the community and support the community around me. So I like being close by. I like being part of the community and offering support, and that's why we do a lot of events here at Great Lakes Dentistry.
Oh, that's tremendous.
That's kind of like why I joined up with the group at the time was the LBA, now the CDC, is because you gotta network and interface with like-minded Christians, and so it's kind of the business part of it.
It's
been the faith.
Yeah, it's very effective. I mean, it makes it easier. It creates a sense of comfort, more or less.
Yeah.
Which that's luckily we've been seeing that with our other members too, and I'm glad that you're also experiencing that. And
yeah, absolutely.
And obviously we love having you involved.
Thanks.
So you mentioned a lot of the technology that you do. I want to touch base on that. Do you think that's a big factor that sets you apart from your competition?
Absolutely. I'm one of the first dentists really in Michigan to get CT scans for dental offices. There was a law in Michigan that you needed a special certificate to get it, and I actually got that certificate, and it required a voluntary IRS audit, and it was multiple thousands of dollars. And then within a year after I obtained the certificate, the state of Michigan repealed that law, so you don't need that certificate anymore. But the part of that story is that I was one of the first general dentists in Michigan to even have that technology available. And what that does, if you ever seen an X-ray, it's just, a piece of film. You hold up to the light and you see a tooth in between them. With this technology, I have a 3D X-ray, so I can take your tooth and I can look at it all around. I can take your jawbone and look at it from the top, from the side, and from front to back. And so I think it's invaluable technology, and
That's awesome.
yeah, I'm one of the few dentists to have that. I'm also one of the few to have 3D printer in the office. So if you have
I've never heard of that in dentistry before. So that's cool.
Yeah, so you have a bite guard or a mouth guard that you have to wear at night for a bite splint. A lot of people do.
I grind my teeth quite a bit. So
Yeah.
I should probably be talking to you here.
Yeah, so if you grind your teeth, typically you have to take a goopy impression. So you stick this stuff in your mouth, it gags you, it goes down the back of your throat. We don't do that. I have a digital scanner, so I take a picture of your teeth, basically, and it's a 3D picture of your teeth. And then I send this to a 3D printer, and that prints out the bite guard. So I don't have any, don't send it to a laboratory. I make it all here in the office, and it provides a better service to the patients. So.
Oh, that's tremendous.
Yeah, a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, that sounds very convenient.
Yeah.
So, obviously, there's a lot of positive going on.
Yeah.
What is your least favorite thing about what it is you do?
The least favorite thing about dentistry, well, you gotta make me say this on Facebook to everyone.
See how you handle the question.
Yeah, it's, I think there are, unfortunately, there are a lot of expectations that some patients have about insurance in general, and they might not understand all of the nuances that go into dental insurance, and people think that in general, like, 100% of everything should be covered. I shouldn't have to pay anything out of pocket, and that's absolutely not how the dental insurance side of things work. And so I think the part that I dislike the most is having to be that kind of middleman, that intermediary to explain, hey, this is how it really works, and it's not that I didn't set up the rules, they did, and it's
right?
Yeah, it puts me in the middle, it puts me in between, and so I don't like that.
Yeah, most people like to shoot the messenger more often than not.
Exactly, yeah, and I feel dentistry is kind of set apart. I feel when I go to a physician, or I have to get my kids just needed one of my son needed his adenoids taken out.
Okay.
And before we went in, the lady at the front desk, before we even went back, said, okay, your portion is going to be $600. How do you want to pay for that? Okay, so we pay for it. But if I tried that in the dental office, saying, hey, your portion for the root canal is $1,000, pay me now, patients I would get a totally different response. Yeah, so it's totally different. It's a totally different world. So having to talk about those things with patients that gets in the way of caring for them, like getting someone out of pain, that's a difficult part to navigate sometimes. So
no, that makes sense.
yeah, it's no fun, but we all gotta do it.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I learned a bunch of new stuff today.
Yeah, it's an educational hour here with Dr. Vyver.
I like it.
Yeah.
So obviously we're a religious organization. You seem very passionate about your career, your faith, and all that. How do you mesh those two? How do you be more through Christ in your business?
I'll say it's difficult because I haven't really started outwardly practicing my faith in my practice, in my business. So it's I don't pray with patients. I don't, it's not a requirement. Obviously, I'm open to business for the community. How do I practice it? Is it's really in the dental office is a long-term relationship. This isn't a transactional business where I just see a patient, one time and then I don't see them again. So it's usually where we build up this relationship over a longer period of time. And when we talk about things unrelated to dentistry, we start talking about patients' families, kind of the things that they are going through. And I turn into a little bit more of a confidant or a psychologist sometimes with patients because I can't share some things, with other patients. And that allows me that opportunity. I can see kind of the door opening to say, well, do you go to church? Do you believe in Jesus Christ? And here are some ways that, things that I've gone through in my life. Maybe this can help, and I'd be happy to pray with you. Or I'd be happy to invite you to my church or go to these events to kind of let Jesus kind of into your life and see what he can do. And it gets away from the dental stuff. So it's more of that relationship building, really.
Nice.
So
That's awesome.
it's really a long-term thing. And I think it's difficult. It's difficult.
Oh, it's definitely a challenge. But hey, the fact that you're doing it that way and still establishing those relationships and creating that comfort and then integrating it that way, I mean, that's definitely better than that at all, and it seems more effective.
I look at Christian businesses. So you say like Christian bookstore.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think the people who would frequent those businesses, they're already Christians. And are those the people who need Christ in their life? I don't think so. You want to minister to those who don't know Jesus, right? Yeah. And so you're not trying to do it in a subvertive way or anything, but you're not ministering to those who are already believers, who already have faith. Yeah. You want to try and reach out to those who don't have it, who are kind of lost. And this is kind of, this is my way of doing that is, okay, befriend first and then be able to disciple to them, be able to minister to them.
I like it.
It's difficult. It's not easy.
Oh, it's a very thin line to walk.
Yeah.
But no, it's good that you are incorporating it over time with relationships, and that's awesome.
That's how I feel. Like I said, community service, interpersonal relationships, and really long-term relationships with people.
That's the best type of client.
Yeah.
Any final news, notes, tips that you want to share with the audience before we depart?
Yeah. I would say, from a business aspect of things, I would say, try and be more involved in your community. Try and do more community events if you can, and if you're already doing that, that's wonderful. That's great. But try and get people more involved outside of just your customer base, because then you say, look, if we put on these events, we are supportive of the community. People around us are going to notice that and say, okay, if I need a dentist, I'm going to go to this person just because he's active in the community and supports the community. And that allows me that time to say, look, if the opportunity arises where the conversation leads to that, hey, this is where we can go. And
reputation is everything.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
I would say try and be involved in the community.
Nice.
Try and we got to build up each other and build up those around us.
That's the best way to do it. I like it. Well, thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
If anyone here wants to learn more about Shawn and Great Lakes Dentistry, go to christianbc.com. His profile is there. You can check out more information. Cool place. Come visit the office. They have coffee.
Free coffee.
You can't beat that. I'll be here every day.
Absolutely.
But thanks again. Thanks and God bless. And everyone have a great week as we strive to be more through Christ. Bye now. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So very well done.